It's us.
Exactly. So should I go ahead? I'll say we're live if that sounds good to you.
You would be stating the facts.
Good. How was your week in FPL? Did you get a chance to be? This is all just while I'm telling people the pod is live. I'm gonna ask you how your. Did you get a chance to watch a lot of matches this
Pre-potting.
weekend?
Yes, I did. Watched pretty most of what happened, most of the action. Yeah, I think it was an affirming game week, I guess. Like the interesting view into FPL this weekend is predicting things that didn't happen, predicting things that wouldn't happen, and they didn't happen.
Ooh, that's very coy. I don't even think I know what that means. But you know what? Let me do a proper intro,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can try to discern your gnomic
Oh, sure. Yeah. What is a
comments.
double negative?
Yeah, exactly. Hail cheaters! Welcome to the Always Cheating Podcast. My name is Josh Landon. I'm here with Brandon Kelly. This is the Always Cheating Podcast. Brandon, we only have 3 left to go this season.
Mm-hmm.
Game week 36, 37, 38. So we're 1/3 of the way into our final 3 podcasts. It's kind of crazy to think about
Yeah,
it.
it's a new entry point into a fraction at the start of every always cheating pod, and I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, we're about to talk about game week 36, which is basically like I feel like game week 35. If I were to liken it to something, is we're kind of like turning in our final essays with game week 35.
Yeah.
We're all starting to watch Forrest Gump, starting with
Yeah.
game week 36.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
teachers are rolling in the TVs to watch movies for the rest of the school year,
Oh
basically.
yeah, but maybe Brandon, they're rolling in the TV to watch the Challenger take off. Okay,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So we don't
But
know.
this time it's going to
It's
be
yeah,
different. You know,
yeah.
we could where is the movie where they go back in time and try to prevent the Challenger disaster? Does nobody care? I mean, who's out there writing the screenplay? Somebody must care about the Challenger disaster.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it's I'm reading a book on the Challenger disaster right now. So I don't know about you, but but I think people think that I read even more than I do because I am the rare person who tries to pepper every conversation with the stuff that I'm
Uh-huh.
reading. It's
Uh-huh.
makes it seem like I'm incredibly well read. It's really just that I'm putting my the stuff I read into action kind of immediately,
Yeah.
and I it's you by the way, it's highly recommended. You seem very smart if you do this. It's strong advice to anybody out there. Just
Mhm.
read, you have
Stop
to keep
talking about
reading.
who you're going to captain this week and
Yeah.
begin talking about books that you're reading.
Yeah, and the other trick is to you can read 57% of most nonfiction books, and you're not really missing anything. Now, don't tell anybody. Don't tell that to anybody inside publishing. They'll deny it.
Yeah,
But
funny how the US never intervened in World War II. But hey, what do I know?
those World War II books they're split over 19 volumes. Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's you're not introduced. That's a whole new book. That's why like Rick Atkinson's writing these American history
Sure,
books right
yeah,
now. It's like
yes.
1 year at a time.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm excited to read the new one, by the way. We'll get off books in a second here
Yeah, well, you're
because,
gonna
yeah.
say something germane about the Challenger, though.
Oh well, yeah. Well, sometimes you wheel the TV in to watch the excitement, because there's no drama
You're
left,
right. Yeah, I
and then other
gotcha.
times it's everything blows up.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So I am feeling fine through, I guess, the first 9/10 of game week 35. There's one more match tomorrow. I am all out, so I am done. However, um, I have officially made the playoffs in our little personal mini league. So even though I felt like I was kind of just done and dusted in
Mhm.
fantasy, I forget that. And this is, great advice. I know a lot of people do this already, but if you're not doing this, a great thing to do is to set up a little 3-team or like a 3-round playoff in your head-to-head leagues, right? When you set up a mini league with your friends, because it sort of means that everybody, no matter how bad your season gets, you have this little kind of moment at the end when you can sort of redeem yourself. And
Mhm.
if you're in a, if everyone's throwing $20 or $50 in or whatever, it's a little chance to at least try to get your money back, on the
Sure.
season. So I'm looking forward to that. That gives me like a little juice going to the final 3 weeks. But I'm on like a little run of green arrows as well. My like safety score on FPL game week, I'm like plus 11 points. So I should be on a green arrow tomorrow unless I guess unless like Sar as a Mateta
Everybody
and
bangs,
Munoz
yeah.
all go off. Yeah, exactly. Like a 2-0 Palace win would be very bad for me, but everything else, would be fine.
Yeah, I have 2 guys left to go in Sar and Munoz, and it's a strange fixture to be the last fantasy fixture of the game week because it
Yeah,
feels very unpredictable,
yeah,
and it also just kind of feels like a fixture that could result in no points for anyone, though easily, just looking around my various mini leagues, it seems like everybody except you has, sort of a dog in the fight
yeah.
from Chris Wood or a Forest defender, but
Yeah,
it's
I'll
really Pals.
gamble on tomorrow's match to give me
Okay.
some juice, and then I can
Good,
join
good,
you
good.
guys. Yeah, and have a
Yeah,
dog in
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, but Palace, being at home, I like that for Palace goals, but then Palace just basically, thinking about what's going on
yeah.
in the FA
Should we
Cup
turn
is
this whole pod into a preview of the tomorrow's match? Like we just scrap the running order, just go right into it, like 11 v
sure.
11
Okay. What's
position
your
deep.
predicted lineup?
Yeah, let's go like Bielsa style. I'm gonna actually list off all 11 players for
Mhm,
tomorrow.
mhm.
No, I agree. I think I mean we saw this weekend, right? That like teams that have their eye elsewhere, it is like like I mean, I think what was it actually kind of well, what to say, right? Because you had like a rotated Spurs team that did get a draw away to West Ham. Although I don't know, can you read anything into that draw? I have no idea, right? Like,
No, nor
yeah,
yeah, well, what's to read into it, I guess,
Jared
is
Bowen having a great end of the season. That's the one thing you could read
yeah,
into it.
I saw this somewhere on the internet, during the matches that Bowen is actually had uh, has been doing really well in the last like 2 months and actually has more returns or at least more consistent returns than Mbomo. If you count the number of fantasy blanks,
Yep.
Mbomo has more than Bowen.
Yeah.
Since I don't know going back to wherever, but the point is Bowen continues to tick along, and
Mhm.
I do wonder if he's just going to continue languishing at West Ham for seasons to come. I hope not for his sake.
Now he'll get his move when he's like 32, and he'll join Man United. Like, sort of. I guess Mason Mount's not that old. Like it's Man United. It's like a finishing school in the sense that when you go there, you're finished. It's sort of
Ooh.
like yeah.
Mm.
See, that would be a better tweet than it was a thing to say out loud. But
Mhm.
no, but it is weird the way but it does feel. It doesn't just feel like you could see Bowen going there like a year too late and like playing for Man United for a couple
There's
seasons.
there's something about Bowen that feels smarter than that.
Mm.
I don't know. I need to talk to his people, find out what
I
they
gotta,
have in mind.
yeah. Can we look at his A levels? Let's see
I mean,
how
this
good.
is this is kind of the most titillating news this week. Not news, but rumor mill of which Premier League club is Harry Kane going to land at.
Oh, are there
Uh,
rumors that he's coming back? This,
Yeah, there are rumors.
yeah,
Not there are no here we goes or anything like that. But
yeah,
now that
yeah, yeah.
he's got his silverware
Yeah.
in Germany and
Yep.
he's no longer Dan Marino. What's
Right, and
next?
and they technically didn't win yesterday because I mean they drew, so I don't think they clinched the title until today,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he was
Mm-hmm.
able to
That's right.
kind of celebrate it in real time with everybody. Um, yeah, and then I think the other, I mean, obviously, like just a big theme, and I didn't mean to cut you off when you're talking about Palace. Um, Earlier I was trying to make a joke but and I didn't quite roll off the tongue. But it is, I mean, it's a weird, it's a recurring theme, which is how much do people, I mean, I suppose in some ways it's an annual theme, but it feels like this year we've got more teams with their eye kind of elsewhere than maybe
Yeah.
we've had in previous seasons, right? You don't typically have three teams, well actually four including Arsenal. We have four teams in Arsenal, Spurs, Man United, and Chelsea, who are all in the semifinals of European Cup competitions, and then you also have Palace into the final of the FA Cup, right? And in sort of in Palace's case, and actually Spurs and Man United's case as well, in a position where they really have nothing to play for, right? Like in the
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna they're not going to get a European spot through the conventional means. Chelsea are a little bit different, and we saw that with them, beating Liverpool today. Maybe that exemplified it, but in general, the other teams they're not going through Europe through the normal kind of table means, and they're not going to get relegated, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of, it doesn't really matter at that point,
All
right? So
eggs
you
in one
finished,
basket
yeah, it's
there.
like you finished 11th, you finished 15th. It's not really a massive difference.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so I think tomorrow. I mean, do you think that? I mean, we still have what the FA Cup final is. What still? It's like 2 weeks
Two
off,
weeks
right?
away. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's going to be it's full strength versus full strength. Uh,
Yeah.
it's but given current form, Forest are dipping. So
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
For my sake, I'm in 45 points right now with 2 players to go.
Yep.
A very small green arrow. I went up like 5,000 spots to 102, still hanging right outside the top 100K. So just
Yep.
give me one return from Munoz or Sar, and I think I'm there. I'm at a
Yeah.
5-digit rank.
Yeah. Well, I sort of wish you luck. I wish you a
Mm.
little bit of luck, half luck.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, yeah, just to get back to the theme of teams with their heads elsewhere. I mean, Liverpool obviously they clinched the league last week in emphatic fashion. They go out there and I guess they do get a very late goal in the Chelsea match today, around the 90th minute, I think, or 80, whatever it was, late in the game. Palmer does get a pen after that to settle it at 3-1. But um, I mean, and then I guess let's bring Arsenal into this as well, because Arsenal, slightly different situation. They have the second leg of a tie where they're only down 1-0. I mean, it's certainly possible for them to win this, to win the tie still.
Hmm.
And they even being away. Um, but they play a like basically full strength squad. He kind of like tried to have it both ways. It was like he played a full strength squad, but then he started to take players off, right?
It was ludicrous management.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely
I'm not sure it
stupid by
worked.
Arteta.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so like Saka blanks, but then I think he's taken off after Bournemouth can score two. And so it's kind of like, if the
What
point
was meant
wasn't,
to be a,
yeah,
hey, let's get a little confidence boost here for the first team and give him
right.
60 minutes, and it just turns it to a disaster.
I mean,
Uh,
these guys are all playing. They're playing twice a week the entire season. Like, I don't think they needed to like be fresh, right? It's like, and also like leg one and leg two of the Champions League are a week apart. It wasn't like it's like some massive. It wasn't like there's an international break in between the legs or something, right? So yeah, I agree. I don't think he needed to do it, and it also was just needlessly risky, right? Like, what about if somebody had been injured in that match, right? It was just
Yeah,
silly,
I think that Arsenal kind of bailed out by Newcastle not being able to get 3 points today,
yeah,
whereas you're kind of looking at Arsenal falling down to fourth place as it is. So
wow, is that,
um, but
yeah,
because they have the Newcastle Arsenal fixture that's coming up next weekend is going to be amazing because
yeah.
Newcastle really have to, or not next week, but in game week 37
Yeah,
is when
Newcastle
they face off.
have a couple big ones because
Yeah,
they host Chelsea in 36, right?
yeah,
And so that's which is a pretty interesting match too. And so yes, and like some really big stakes over the next couple weeks.
indeed. Yeah. So what do you make of Liverpool here? I guess we should just get this one out of the way. Is it
Yeah,
just cut cut all of your players and go? I mean, Luis Diaz getting a 0 pointer is actually kind of the best case scenario for holders because you get to have somebody else come in,
yeah,
whereas nobody else on Liverpool manufactured any fantasy returns. But I think the likes of him,
yeah,
Salah is really the only ownable Liverpool player for the rest of the
yeah.
season.
I
And
still
is
think
that
he's.
even debatable?
It's debatable. I don't think it's beyond debate, but I actually like the game week 36 fixture for them in a sense. It's Arsenal at home. I think they kind of got their loss out of the way, right? They clinched the title and they go away to Chelsea. And Chelsea have a ton to play for still. Um, in the sense that they still have the Conference League and the Champions League spot. But like playing at Arsenal at home, it's like hard for me to believe they're just going to totally. It's like in some ways, it's almost better, at least fantasy wise, for them to play a team that's pretty good, right?
Right. They kind
Because
of have to show up.
yeah, like especially if Arsenal win the Champions League, right? Then it's like Arsenal still playing for they're playing like they've been playing for the European Cup, right? And Liverpool would kind of have to be like, yeah, like we're actually we're better. Like there'd be a
I
kind
see.
of like
Yeah,
sub like a what's the word, like a subtext or something, right?
sure.
Like it'd be, and so I just can't imagine Liverpool take, even if Arsenal lose, I just can't imagine Liverpool taking this one easy,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I agree. Kind of an interesting fixture. Certainly not captainable. Now I feel
No.
like I'm in a situation. I captained Salah in game week 35. You went for Mbomo,
Yep.
and I'm left with this. It's not a bad taste in my mouth. Salah's just not been delivering fantasy wise the way he was mid-season, and I
No.
feel like I'm not going to captain him for the rest of the season. And not because I'm like a hero or some avant-garde manager, but I don't think anybody really is for the rest of the season.
Now, I mean, see, Arsenal at home, uh, probably going to be a tricky match. I mean, again, Arteta's not resting anybody, and Brighton away. I mean, not a terrible match, but we saw today with Newcastle that certainly they can put on a. There's also a lot. There's a couple like interesting so I don't really feel great about that one. And then Palace at home in 38. I mean, to me that match is going to be like a party, right? It's like Palace will have nothing to play for, Liverpool have nothing to play for, game week 38. It's like, I mean, it's hard for me to
Sure,
be
the
super
blow up
excited.
dolls will be bouncing
Yeah,
around the cop end, and
totally. It
what fun.
might be worth captaining Salah for that one, but yeah, that match has like 3-2 written all over it, right? And so it's like,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think dropping Liverpool defenders is fine.
Yeah.
I think that would you could go ahead and start doing that.
Yeah. All right. So Liverpool, I think, probably top my beach ratings after this week. At
Yeah.
the other end of the table, I was kind of fascinated by the Leicester Southampton match,
Hmm.
especially now looking ahead to game week 36 and who we will captain next week. And suddenly, Southampton yet again are it's that test you were talking about, Josh, with Liverpool having to play Arsenal,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to win to prove that they're better than the Champions League semifinalists,
Uh-huh.
which they don't have to do, obviously. But now that Leicester have beaten Southampton 2-0 when they're both relegated, proves yet again that Southampton are the worst team in the division.
Yeah.
So
So
here we
yeah,
are with our Man City assets, and Marmouche is
that's he's a no-go.
and Holland, he didn't get a minute, but he was out there. He was on the team sheet. He was doing some warm-ups. I mean, would you expect to see Holland start in game week 36?
I mean, maybe 36, maybe 37. I mean, yeah, certainly in the next couple of weeks, right? But it's hard to say. They don't really have much to I mean, I guess they still are kind of. I mean, the thing is, it's almost it's impossible to imagine them losing this match, right? And I assume once they win their 36 match, they're probably fairly locked into a Champions League spot, right? And so at that point, yeah, you might as well just start Holland for one of the final two. And
Yeah.
but I think in your case, you have Kevin De Bruyne. I don't. I mean, so Kevin De Bruyne is really going out with a bang. He's got 3 double-digit returns in 2025. It's final season with Man City. Just 9.5 million, right? And they have a good fixture on in the season. I mean, I think he's and I don't have him in my squad. I'm going to at least look at whether I could bring him in or not. But
Mhm.
I think he's very captainable for game week 36.
Yeah, he's captain in my bus team right now. It's going to be dead heat between people who want to go City or people who want to go Bournemouth. Who Bournemouth have suddenly just put the pillow over Wolves' face and suffocated them to become the new form mid-table team
Hmm.
for fantasy. So and Bomo and Wissa now
Yeah.
too. I
Oh,
think
Brentford, you mean? Yes. Yeah.
sorry, who was I
Yep.
saying?
You said Bournemouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Brentford. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, of
Bournemouth
course.
also with a good win. I mean, to their credit.
Yep, they're
Yep.
back. They're back. Lots of form teams. Every week it's a new form team.
Yeah, indeed. And so
Uh,
I have mine on Mbomo right now.
yeah.
Crazy that they scored 4 goals and he only got 1 assist.
Hmm.
If you had told me, I mean, because the match kind of went the way I thought it would, which is that I thought it'd be pretty open. I thought that Man United would not really necessarily be kind of too focused on this match, and that Brentford would have a lot of goal scoring opportunities. Just the way it played out was that he ended up just picking. Although again, I mean, an assist was still more than Marmouche and Salah got this weekend, so
Hmm.
it's not the worst. And taking return from your captain, not the worst thing. And so,
Yeah, take it.
yeah, and so, it's just hard for me to imagine them going away to Ipswich in 36 and seeing anything different, right? I mean, it's
Hmm.
like I'd expect them to score something like 3 goals in that match.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe Ipswich score a couple as well, but I do think there's a really good chance of a lot of returns. But if I had KDB, I think I would captain him actually.
Hmm.
But I also don't know if he's worth. It's like a weird thing where it's like I'm not certain. Actually, I think he's not a bad transfer, just in general. I think
Hmm.
Southampton, Bournemouth, Fulham to end the season. Fulham are unfortunately, it feels like the maybe they run out of gas a little bit on the season
Hmm.
now, and so maybe they get it back for the hosting Man City in game week 38. It feels like teams are always kind of up for hosting Man City,
Certainly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There is this lingering doubt, Pep being Pep, and he will have some ideas away from home against a crap Southampton team. I don't know, Phil Foden just stepping in and doing a De Bruyne thing. Does De
yeah.
Bruyne get the start? Does De Bruyne get his legs saved for his final home match in game week 37? I'm not saying that makes sense, but this is like the nerve that captainers are going
Yeah,
to have.
I that feels like overthinking it. He's in good form. Doesn't seem
Yeah.
like there's any kind of issues with him right now. So
Well,
yeah,
so the good news is there is no early kickoff on Saturday. So once again, we can sort of sweat team sheet
yeah,
leaks for
yeah.
City.
Another kind of weird. I guess it's because of all the European matches, right? That must be what's driving it.
Sure,
Because
say it's 2.5 hours
yeah,
will save
how do
people
they
a
get
lot of.
how do they get logged out of the fantasy site literally mid pod? What's ridiculous
How do
that
they do
happens?
it?
How do
So,
how do they do it?
so we can come back to that question when we do our proper game week 36 preview in a moment. But just staying on game week 35, let's just spare a quick mention for Everton Ipswich in the Pushkas Prize a-thon that
Hmm.
was that match. Like the
Shocking.
whatever you can do, I can do better contest between McNeil and CISO. And
Yeah, it
I
was
love it.
fun. I
And
mean,
CISO was kind of like had this
oh
look on his face at the like
yeah, yeah.
second half of the match of like how he's like, am I Pele now? Maybe.
No, he's the new Andros Townsend. To me, this is exactly the mantle that he's inheriting. He is a outside the box shot merchant, right? Who is going to miss, I don't know, like 9 out of every 10 shots, but then when they go in, it's going
Yeah.
to look absolutely brilliant. And that's sort of his MO, right? It's like I would actually he's like a player I enjoy watching play, but who I wouldn't want on my team, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, I think some midfielder in the championship is going to destroy his career in one tackle.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of little. So like, I remember a couple years ago in Arsenal, we're like, let's go all in on tiny players. And it was like the Guendouzi and all these like little
Hmm.
dudes, and it was like, yeah, Lucas something or other. Lucas Torreira, was that his name?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was a short
yeah,
guy,
yeah. Sandy Cazorla was short too, but he was powerfully built. He was
tall in
a
spirit.
yeah, he had tall in spirit, but he was wider build. He seemed
Hmm.
kind of in the Eden Hazard mold. All right, what else from this weekend that I thought was interesting? So I also enjoyed the goals in Everton Ipswich. I thought that was a lot of fun. Vissa, you ended up bringing in Johan Vissa with your transfer this week, right?
Yeah, I was thinking when we did our Patreon pod on Thursday night that I was going to move SAR to Embomo, and somehow I didn't realize the disparity in price there. Had 2 million in the bank, and I couldn't afford to get Embomo without a hit. And at that point, I thought, well, perhaps the best thing here would be to roll. And then I looked inside myself and said, "You love Johan Vissa.
Yeah,
Let's do this." And so
true,
I went
true, true.
Mateta to Vissa. And to get that goal and one bonus is massive for that transfer. We'll see what Mateta has to say about that on Monday. But I'm looking at then Embomo in for SAR. Now I can afford that move going into 36. And yeah, it's just all about Brentford, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, defensively, we have to just ignore them though, right? It would really just be Vissa and Mbomo.
I
Kevin
suppose.
Schad, if you really want to be, you want to Schad, is that how you say it? I'm
Yeah,
not 100% sure. Yeah,
Shade,
yeah,
Shad, yeah,
Schad, yeah.
Shada, Kevin Shada,
I say Schad in
Shada.
my head, but then when I say it out loud, I'm like, is that right? Really don't know. Hard to
Yeah,
say.
this Michael Coyote character kind of came out of nowhere. Who is a
Yeah,
4.5 defender.
Michael Peyote.
Sure, yeah, I
Yeah,
thought I was seeing all sorts of
visions. Yeah,
visions, man, while I was watching him play. Rico Henry is back too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brentford fullbacks, it's
That
great to see.
probably is, helping with their like run of like kind of uptick in form again, right? Like I feel like when Henry was out, it really just took away a lot on the left for them, right? He's such a valuable, contributor out there. So, all right, well, just I guess one final thing is that the Penn Merchants returned Brandon,
Mm,
Isak and Palmer. Cole Palmer first goal in several years, I believe. I was looking at it was 2019 when Cole Palmer last scored a goal, which
it's been
I
a
would have
minute.
thought it was like within the last few months, but no, apparently it was almost 6 years, which is
Titanic meme. Let's
surprising.
go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Does that change anything with Palmer? I mean, it's like any way you can get a goal, right? It's like it can help your form a little bit. So I don't know.
I don't see the issue is Palmer having like fluctuating form. I think it's still interesting to debate because his ceiling is always so high.
Yeah.
But this drought has actually, it's like a team on the FPL site getting downgraded in the fixture difficulty ratings.
Uh huh.
Cole Palmer
Yeah.
has been downgraded in his fantasy ceiling,
Transfer
unfortunately.
value ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Gosh, yeah,
he
just
had like a couple of good chances in open play, but if that goal being a penalty that not won by him or anything that he necessarily did, there's nothing there that convinces me that he and it's sort of like Palmer not convincing anybody that he's still worth it or an avenue to leapfrogging in your mini league combined with a player like Kevin De Bruyne at 9.5
right.
doing his thing.
That's true.
So there's
That's
just like
true.
no
I would,
oxygen for Palmer to
yeah,
breathe at this point.
I would prefer that.
Yeah.
And Isak, I don't really know. Maybe it's just a little kind of end of year. They've been great for months and months and months, and maybe they're just dipping a tiny bit in form right now. It's not. I don't think it's a problem exactly, but I do think that Newcastle Chelsea this weekend is maybe the kind of premier match, right? I think
Yeah.
very interesting in the sense that like I don't know. I mean, I guess I suppose I expect Newcastle to win that match, but I think it should be super interesting.
I was very surprised to see Jacob Murphy come off before the 60th minute
Yep.
so that Howe could keep Harvey Barnes on the pitch. Because to me, watching the first 50 minutes, it's just like no one is looking to Isak. This
Right.
play is not funneling toward Isak. It's Jacob Murphy wasn't creating many chances, nor was he getting the ball. The ball kept going to Barnes, and he was trying to hero it into the goal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wonder if Barnes's form is what's really hurting Isak. He's
Yeah.
just not seeing as much of the ball.
You do see everything through Gordon colored glasses. I feel like that is your
But I mean,
you
but
know.
tell me I'm wrong about Barnes.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think I like Barnes. I mean, it's like he does feel like he's like better as a bench asset in some ways. It's like the like 60th minute burst of energy and pace kind of option, right?
Sure, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, which I was normally used, and I guess they're sort of in sort of in consideration of his recent form. He's been sort of keeping that spot, but I don't know. I don't plan to have Gordon down the stretch. I mean,
Sure.
the end run, and we were talking about Newcastle and Chelsea. I mean, it's not a great end of the season run for either one, right? Chelsea have Newcastle, Man United, and Forest. Away to Forest in 38 too.
Yeah.
Amazing final match of the season. Could certainly have Champions League implications. And then and
I'm not advocating for Anthony Gordon, by the way.
no, I didn't think you were. I was just kind
Okay.
of joking about your. Whenever you start talking about Harvey Barnes, I know that secretly you're also thinking Gordon's better. That's sort of rattling
Yeah.
around in the back of your head.
Sure.
But Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton as well. So they have a lot to play for, and so I wouldn't be like taking their assets out. But it's not a great end of the season run for them either. So anyway, all right. Well, let's move on, Brandon. I want to get into game week 36, right? So we have our European matches this week. So it's obviously good week to hold your transfers as is always the case, but maybe especially right now because
Mhm.
it's gonna be full strength all the way, right? With all of the squads that play this weekend. So yeah, let me pull it up here, Brandon. So yeah, game week 36. We have it's a variation on an FPL classic, right?
Mm.
You got the 5 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday. It's an FPL bisected, is what it is. It's
Mm,
not a classic. It's a bisect.
sure.
And so, with the 7 a.m. Sunday match, I like that. That's like that's the old like Derby start time when they used to start Derby matches like really early in the
Play the
morning.
kickoff before the bars even open.
Yeah, exactly. So Newcastle Chelsea get the Derby kickoff on
Mhm.
Sunday. It's kind of too bad because in some ways it's the most it's the match that has the biggest implications. I do think that Liverpool Arsenal should be a lot of fun. That is the actual marquee match in terms of having that 11:30 U.S. time window on
Mhm.
Sunday. Um, but looking ahead, what are you sort of thinking about with transfers for this week? What are you? Do you have your eyes on anything in particular?
Yeah, I think this is a bad week to hold Crystal Palace fantasy assets because of the be on the eve of the FA Cup final with City. So them being away at Spurs, I just think there's rotation risk for some guys, and I just don't love it. So Sar is gone in favor of Mbomo. I think
Okay.
Brentford is the form fantasy team right now. And suddenly I'm like losing my nerve a little bit with Wolverhampton. I mean, obviously, if you have the likes of Cunha and Eight Nuri, I think they're fantastic. But then Brighton just might be the hardest team to figure out all
Yeah.
season. Are they
Yeah.
bad?
Totally.
Are they good? Are they?
Yeah. It's
I mean, they're
very
they're somewhere between.
up
It's
and down
complicated.
campaign. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that they played pretty well, all things considered, against Newcastle, and that becomes that Wolves Brighton match becomes a trickier game to call. We kind of already talked about Southampton, Man City. I think you've got to get a City. You've got to get Diaz or Gvardiol if you
Yep.
don't have one of them at this point for the run-in.
Yeah, and I have Marmouche and Gvardiol. I mean, Marmouche just an incredible run of blanks, right? I
Hmm.
mean, all like with quite good. I mean, so 4 blanks and 5, despite playing. I mean, he actually did get a goal in the one match he played less than 90. But otherwise, it's yeah. I mean, blank, and I think there were home matches 3 out of 4. 3 of his last 4 were home as well. For him to continue to blank. It's hard to you can't drop him because the fixtures are good, but it's hard to I can't even away to Southampton. I can't imagine captaining him, right? And so,
No.
Gvardiol you could consider captaining. I think there's, but I won't. I mean, I think that I mean, the problem is you have a couple other quite good fixtures as well, which makes it a little easier. Like Mbomo he feels like a very high floor captain pick this week.
Yeah, he does. I mean, what do you think of the Wolves Brighton fixture? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same. I think I mean the same as you. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess I expect Wolves to win. They're home, right? And they have been the form team for
Hmm.
several weeks and playing away to Man City is always hard. It wasn't even like that bad of a performance really,
No, they took it
Yeah.
to him in the first
Yeah.
15 minutes or so, and
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
very unlucky not to get a goal.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that
So
City clean
one
sheet
nil.
was quite fortunate. So
Yeah,
it,
that's true for us Guardiol
uh,
owners. Yeah, 8 points. Yep.
so there are a lot of tough games to read on Saturday. Fulham Everton could be a 0-0. Wolves Brighton could be a 0-0 or a
Yep.
4-4. And then Bournemouth Aston Villa. It just feels like put up the caution tape, stay away fantasy wise from that fixture. It just feels bad fantasy for fantasy.
Yeah, I've got a Semenyo on my bench right now,
Hmm.
and I think that's where he's gonna stay. He did not start the match this weekend, which I was a little surprised by. I don't know if any comments came out. I didn't see anything.
Seemed
Just
tactical to
yeah,
me,
tactical
and it worked.
rest
Frankly,
rotation. Yeah,
came
yeah.
on and kind of just made them that much more dynamic with the fresh legs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to read into it either because he's been a good, perfectly good form. Two
Hmm.
goals and an assist in his last. Well, I mean, obviously he got the assist in the Arsenal match, but two goals and threes, going into that match.
Yeah, and Tavernier was fine, but he didn't play himself into that role.
No,
Uh,
no, I think that I think Semenyo is super important. Evan Nelson scored another goal too.
mhm.
The red card got rescinded, and he went out there and scored. I think he did get a yellow card in the end, but
Mhm.
still. he's yeah, but I'm kind of with you. I mean, I guess if I had Evan Nelson, I'd probably start him. Whereas Semenyo, I think is like I said, I kind of like him as like a first bench option.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins got a bit of a bandwagon going into game week 35. No returns, but we would expect him to start for the rest of the season, so that's
Yep,
good news. But you got to start him for the rest of the season if you bought him, and
100%.
that could
Yeah,
be that
yeah.
could be good.
Yeah. They could, yeah, exactly. They could be
It
good. Yeah. So for me, my decision right now is I still have my bench boost to play. I decided not to use it in the big double a couple of weeks
Mhm,
ago. I just didn't have my squad did not shape up in a way that made it make sense. And so, looking at my squad for 36, I do think that you could make an argument for it, right? It's not like, I mean, yeah, without any more double game weeks, you kind of just have to pick a game week to
mhm,
use it, right? And so, I for me, like my bench would be Martinez away to Bournemouth, Semenyo home Villa, O'Brien for Fulham O'Brien for Everton away to Fulham, and then I have one transfer, and so I probably would actually take Saliba out, and if I were to bench boost and I guess like kind
mhm.
of attack the game week. And at that point, I don't actually 100% know who the best
This
defender.
is
I mean,
not
it's
look. These
impossible to
guys
find a
are
good
all
defender
away
right
from
now.
home. The only person that's home here is
Well,
Semenyo.
I could bring in a home player, right,
Sure,
for
yeah.
for Salih, but then I'd have 2 out of 4. I mean, that was the
You
problem
could
with
you
the
could
bench
go
boost. It's
double.
like,
You could bring in Ruben Diaz for
yeah,
double Man City
I know.
defense.
It's just such a low, like, he's not a very high ceiling
Okay,
player.
so who?
It's like,
Let's
hey, like,
brainstorm. Who could you
yeah,
get?
well, Aiden Nori, I think would be
Mm-hmm.
someone you could
Yeah.
consider. Although it's always just a little scary because you'd expect Brighton to score in that match, right? And
Seems
so,
likely to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, let's like take a look at the fixtures here. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like Fulham, I don't trust them anymore, so I wouldn't look at one of their defenders.
Nope.
Brentford, I just never trust to keep clean sheets. I wouldn't
Nope.
look at them. Man City already have one defender. Do I want to? I don't know. Maybe. It'd be fun if there was a more kind of Cancelo style player that was
Mm-hmm.
available, right? But I don't think so. So Wolves, eat Nori. Um, and then Bournemouth, I already have a Bournemouth defender in Hoyson, so that feels like enough.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle, Chelsea have Pope already, so that's good. Man United, West Ham, that's a obvious, like that. There's gonna be 7 combined goals in that game. Uh, Forest, Leicester. Now, I do already have Nico Williams, but you could consider a double up for that
Mm-hmm.
one. I think that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs Palace, that's a no. I mean, that's like a 1-1 kind of match, I think, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Palace could rotate, but does it even matter? Like, it feels like they could like rotate their entire 11 and they'd still score a goal against
Mm-hmm.
Spurs. And so that would leave Liverpool and either Trent or Van Dyke. And so it may really come down to, I mean, Aina is back now for Forest as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Aina or TAA, I guess, would be 2 options, right?
Mm-hmm.
I certainly could see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet in that match. So
Yeah, Aina worries me. He's not looked. I mean, obviously he's been out for a while, so he's gonna have to
yeah,
shake the rust off. I wonder if you just
yeah.
go if you're gonna double up on the
I'm
Forest
just gonna
defense,
look at
go
it.
for a center back.
Yeah, but again, it's sort of, yeah. I mean, like Milinkovic, I guess you could go with, right? Who has like a little bit of. I mean, he's got 4 goals in the season, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. So exactly. I could go Milinkovic. I could. I mean, I don't know. I'm also like in the mode where I'm like, well, just why don't I just go for it?
Mm-hmm.
Like just try to find a high ceiling. So like the double up has some appeal too, just because like there's a little. If it works out, it could work out really well, right? Like it's not like everyone has a Forest defender already to start. So yeah, so that's I don't know. So those are some options. I could also hold off on bench boosting, but 37 doesn't set up super well for my team. I was already kind of looking ahead. So then you're looking at a game week 38 bench boost,
Mm-hmm.
and that does worry me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's practically impossible for teams to keep clean sheets in 38, right? So that means all
Yeah.
5 of my defenders are kind of worthless, so
Well,
it
I
does
think
make it
you
a little
play. I think you
trickier.
should play it in game week 36. As you said,
Mhm.
the head-to-head playoffs have got you have got
something
you excited,
to
and
play for.
that'll give you an edge going into the first round.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it should be worth at least 10 points, right? And that's like just you can, I mean, you can 2 point your way to 8 points, right? And then just hope for one attack in return,
Mm-hmm.
and that's enough to get you to 11, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even this week I could have done it, right? I ended up with uh I mean, 6. Yeah, I mean, this actually it would have been a great week in hindsight. I have 14 points plus Nico Williams to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so bench boost, maybe Semenyo does something in that match. I would expect him to start the Villa match, right?
Yeah,
So,
me too.
and so that's a possibility. As far as the captaincy goes, we talked about De Bruyne, we talked about Mbomo. Uh, would you consider Isak? Newcastle and Chelsea. It's a big match, a
No,
lot to play for.
no. I like Vissa. Vissa.
What? Yeah, I don't know where you went there. You had like, is that Austria, Germo,
Mm-hmm.
Austria? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Austria, Hungary.
Isak is just
Oops.
you're throwing it against the wall there. I don't love it. I mean, his anytime goal scoring odds are probably going to be somewhere around, I don't know, high 30s, 40%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe a little higher than that. I mean, just because they're home, but yeah, I mean, okay, like, yeah, who is the okay, let's look at it this way, because there are a lot of good captain options this week. Who is the most high floor captain pick, right? So like
Hmm.
the one where it's like, even if they have a bad game, I can see them getting 5 points or 6 points.
Hmm.
And who is the high ceiling captaincy where it's like, I can see them just like absolutely like just getting 3 goals or something like that, right? And just absolutely going off. Like, so I mean, because like for me, like when I say that, like I kind of I thought of Salah like immediately, and it's not based on form, but it's just like I could just see Liverpool being like, yeah, we're the best team in the Premier League. We're gonna
I don't know.
crush Arsenal.
I
Our
tried that. I tried
yeah.
that today. Didn't
Yeah,
work.
that's true. You did, yeah, you did try that today. But that was, I mean, the context is different though, right? I mean, away to a Chelsea team that have something to play for. Liverpool have celebrated for a week. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, yeah. That's one for the people who know the party schedule of how different
Okay.
the
Yeah, I don't know.
context
I
is.
don't think there's been a parade yet. But I think as far as high floor goes, I do think Mbomo would be the high floor pick, right? It's sort of like
Yeah.
today's match. Doesn't come away with much, but still nicks 5 points, right? And so I think
Hmm.
I do like him from, in that regard. Um, yeah, I mean, Isak, to be honest, I do kind of expect Isak to get some kind of return in that match.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I
If
guess I
we,
do think that Mbomo has like I feel like Mbomo has like pretty much the same floor as Isak, but I think he has a higher ceiling than Isak, right? And so that makes him more appealing.
if I had endless cash and the leak came out for City before the deadline, I would get and captain Erling Haaland.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just like a
It's
future that
possible.
that won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, we
But
don't have to
that's
set our
kind of
alarms that
further.
early for
Yeah.
Saturday, do we? I mean,
But
8:15.
De Bruyne does have that Mbomo ceiling. I love that I just compared De Bruyne to Mbomo. How about I
Well,
do it the reverse?
yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, but I mean, yeah, it does feel like KDB is, yeah, it's like he's got one more big match in him this year,
Hmm.
right? Is it 36, 37, 38? Who
Hmm.
knows, right? But certainly away to Southampton
It's
does feel
happening.
like a good
Yeah, it's
opportunity for
happening.
it.
Yeah, I do think Jared Bowen is worth mentioning. I don't think that you could really even make a case for him as a differential captain, just given how many captain choices there are, as you say. But
Yeah.
I agree. I think that Man United West Ham match is going to be free scoring,
Yep.
and Bowen is just on the end of everything that West Ham is doing right now.
Yeah.
He
You know,
he easily could have had 2 goals today.
I'll throw in one more high ceiling pick, which would be Chris Wood. Again, not a player who's got a lot of form right now, but this could be like a get right kind of game for
Hmm.
for Forest. I mean, home to Leicester. We have seen even in previous years, right? Even kind of putting aside Chris Wood's performance this year, that like every now and then, like Chris Wood will go up against a really bad team and just destroy
Hmm.
them, right? And so
Hmm.
that I don't, it doesn't really, I can't like get there with any of my it doesn't make sense for me to transfer any of my players out this week to bring him in, but
Hmm.
I do like him as a possible option for 36.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm very, again, just like really curious to see how they look against Crystal Palace, because
Yeah.
is it like a full on season rot
Yeah.
with Forest, or are they just getting the
Yeah.
nerves at the end of the
Yeah.
season?
If Forest win tomorrow, I think I like the wood pick even
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a couple of questions here. Danny Bean, old friend of the pod,
Mm.
Brandon, longtime friend of the pod, says, I still have my triple captain left. He says, who should I use it on? And then he says, Vardy, right? So let's take a look here. Who is
Mm.
the best? I gotta minimize my screen here. It's hard to fit this fixture. It's so sad, Brandon. Just the three little fixtures left in the fixture difficulty rating.
Sounds like a DNA strand we're looking
So
at
yeah.
here.
So what is a great, fun?
Jamie Vardy at home, Ipswich Town,
It's not. It's
game week 37. I don't.
He's
Danny is
getting a brace
he's
in that one.
clearly
Yeah.
asking us to give him permission to do this.
It'd be cool if he got to use the referee's whistle, like as like a tribute to him, right? I mean, this might be it for him. Like this might be his last Premier League match ever, right? He's like 38 years old and Leicester are going down. Like
Well,
even
he's
if they came
announced
back
that he's
up.
leaving. He's announced that he's leaving Leicester at the end of the season,
Oh, he
and
is.
the
Okay.
suspicion is he'll look for a Premier League move just to extend that.
Yeah. I,
That
I guess that makes sense. I mean, who was the guy? He was like with he was with middle no, he was with this is bad. Sorry, this is like bad
mm,
podcasting. But he was with one of the promoted teams a couple of years ago, and he was like Jimmy Vardy's age. I remember, and he sort of he was mostly a bench asset. It was
give
uh,
me a hint.
it's actually one of Danny Bean's club's rival. The
Sheffield United.
Yeah, Sheffield United. Remember when Sheffield came up like three years ago, and they
Yeah,
had that guy who was like their kind of talismanic forward. I'm sure people listening know who I'm
that's
talking
fine.
about,
That's
but
fine.
remember he was like a
Pass.
blonde guy, and he wasn't that good anymore, but he was able to kind of come off the bench and certainly, I mean, like half the teams in the Premier League next year could use a Jamie Vardy off the bench for
Sure,
25
absolutely.
minutes. So yeah.
Yep. So you've not seen the last of him, is our prediction.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I love who doesn't love Vardy? I mean,
Yeah.
and him doing that today was so cool. It's like what an awesome yesterday. What an awesome last thing that he got to do, which is to take a downed referee's whistle, and blow it on the pit. Also, that referee was his first game. I don't know if you followed the story at
I
all, but
did. Yeah.
his first. I mean, no, it was not his first game refereeing any level, but his
Just
first
man
pretty
on man
amazing.
from the
Yeah, man on the
stands.
street. But he was, but his first Premier League match. He must be like, can you imagine anything more embarrassing than just like
Yeah, just getting completely
cold cocked by accident? Yeah,
and
exactly.
then these players just like touching your stuff.
Yeah, blowing your whistle. That's like it's like touching a cop's gun. It's really
it's intimate. It is intimate. All
yeah.
right. Any other triple captain
Yeah.
options at all?
Oh, I'm sure
Cole
there are
Palmer
some.
against Manchester United, game week 37.
Maybe. I mean, I think if I mean Holland, Holland is like I hate even throwing him out there because he's so hard to get to, right? It's like it's hard to get to Holland. I guess I would maybe be looking at the teams that had something to play for. So that so Palmer does make sense. Yeah, I mean maybe Wood in 37. Again, yeah, like you said, we need to see what they look like tomorrow. I guess I'm just trying to like find like a team. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, again, these are all like, obviously there's just conventional picks. It's just like Salah any week or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you wanted to be like fixture meets stakes, right? Like maybe
Saka in game week 38 away Southampton.
that could be one. I think so. It'd be nice to see him like actually like look like. I mean, he did away to Real Madrid, so I mean, it's not like he doesn't have it in him this
Mm-hmm.
season, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't really shown in the Premier League the last few weeks. Ollie Watkins home to Spurs in 37, maybe could be something. Spurs will be coming off the second leg of a European match, and then they still have like a Champions League spot to go for. So
I'm slotting that under Jamie Vardy.
yeah, less fun than Vardy, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Harder to, and Vardy's so cheap, right? Easy to get
Mm-hmm.
to. So, all right, fine. Let's just stick with Vardy then.
Why not?
Yeah. So Jimmy Rock Dog Ton asks random fun players in the last 3 weeks. So obviously Vardy would have to be one. I think KDB is a fun sentimental pick too, right?
Yeah.
I know I've talked
Yeah.
about this on the pod already, but it's like David Silva had some nice matches down the stretch his last season. Sergio Aguero. I know I'm just naming Man City players here, but like it's, but also because they've like been the champions, right?
Alvaro
It's
Negredo,
Alvaro Negredo,
Edin
exactly.
Dzeko.
Oh, I bet Edin Dzeko scored a goal in his last. Although these guys, like, I love that all of these guys are still playing in La Liga or Serie A. It's like, if you ever watch a
Yeah, they've
random
all won
Monday,
5 Europa League titles
yeah,
since leaving Man
yeah, you
City.
ever watch a random Monday La Liga match and it's like all ex-Man City players? Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wissa again comes to mind. I feel like he has been in Mbomo's shadow for much of the season, and
yeah.
his output has just been insane. I think he just passed Ivan Toney for goals scored for the
Really,
club.
I'm surprised. I honestly am surprised. I would have thought that Tony would have had. Is that in the Premier League or just
Well,
cumulative?
that's just something I flip by in my scrolling. The
Mm.
fact checkers are going to need to check me on that one. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
point is, heck of a forward, and I think just becoming sold on Brentford wanting to make that final push toward the end
yeah,
end of the season, and you see they have the players to do it if they really set their minds
yeah.
to it.
I'm going to be boring again because I keep repeating myself, but they just kind of lend themselves to this discussion, I think, which is that I do think that Chris Wood is a fun player to have down the stretch because it's kind of like I just really personally want to see Forrest get a Champions League spot. I just think it'd be cool and fun. It's like it just is part of the fun of the whole point of the Champions League, right? Is that I don't want it to be the same four. This is like why people don't like
Mm.
the Super League or whatever, right? It's like you want to feel like maybe there's a chance some club can break in, right? And so if you want to kind of feel like you're in on the project, right? These final 3 weeks, then I do think that Wood is kind of a fun like because you're going to be all these matches kind of have like big stakes down the stretch. And game week 38, like everyone's been watching those matches, and they have a home match home to Chelsea in 38, so maybe he's just like a fun player to have down the stretch.
Johan Vissa, 12 goals at home this season, surpasses Ivan Toney's record 11 goals in 2022-23, and
Okay,
now becomes the Brentford player who has scored the most goals at home in a Premier League season.
okay,
Additionally, Vissa has this happened earlier this season. Now has more goals in the Premier League than Ivan Toney for
okay.
Brentford.
Got it. So Ivan Toney probably has more goals in his Brentford
Yes,
career,
right.
including the championship.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think maybe people I feel like already have a Leicester asset or two, but Leicester do host, or I mean, a Bournemouth asset or two. Bournemouth hosts Leicester in game week 38, and so I think that's another fun place to look. Maybe I mean, fortunately, they play Man City in 37 away, which does take some of the fun out of that. But yeah, and so I don't know. Should we yeah? Why don't you give me one more fun player, Brandon? One more funny.
One more funny guy. Big fun. You know,
That noise you just made, just disgust. Just looking through all the, we just went "Ugh," like a. So it was like sideshow Bob when he steps on a rake. You were just like, "Ugh."
yeah. Oh, I'm seeing a number of fun guys here. I keep wanting to pick somebody from Aston Villa, but genuinely no clue. Emery on the sidelines this weekend, freaking out. That guy's insane. Like
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
not want to come
I don't think I
within
saw
that.
it. I slept in a little bit. I have to admit, and so I didn't catch
Yeah,
all
he
the.
was going. It looked like he was going off at Consa for some poor decision he made, but guy seems like a pure, not awesome guy.
Rageaholic. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Kind of works, I guess. But all right. Well, you're struggling here. Let me see if I can add one just to finish this.
Hmm.
How about Jared Bowen? If you
Yeah,
don't
I
have
was
him
just
already.
thinking the same thing. I think
Yeah,
Bowen is the guy. I think he's feeling it, and
yeah,
the problem is nobody knows what Graham Potter's doing at the moment. But
yeah.
Bowen doesn't care. He's doing his own thing.
Ipswich away in 38. Low key fun captaincy for Bowen.
Mm,
Maybe that could be something
yeah.
to consider. The only problem is that game's not going to be in any TV channels. So if you want to be able to watch your player, I've run into this before in 38 where sometimes you're just like, well,
Mm,
cool that I have this player,
yeah.
but
It's on
even with the
Court
8
TV
TV,
too.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you end up pulling up your phone and like putting it at the bar, just so you
Hmm.
can watch. Certainly done that before. All right, well, that is that's that. And I think we've got, one last question here from FPL USA. Brian actually touches on two players that you and I have talked about a lot on the pod already,
Hmm.
which is Vissa or Wood, the better transfer in for the last 3 game weeks. So if we compare fixtures, we've got Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea for Forest. The first and third are home, and for that's for Wood, and then for Brentford, it's in Vissa, it's Ipswich, Fulham, Wolves. So 2 away, but one of those away is Ipswich. So that's a real. I think it's very close. I guess I would lean towards Wood just slightly. Can't tell if
Yeah,
I'm being sentimental there, though.
I don't know. Visa is just he's in very good form at the moment. It creates a dead heat situation, and to me, I think what what you would expect Brentford to do as they make their final push, whatever it's
Yeah,
for the end of the season, will entail scoring goals. This is the only
yeah.
thing that they really do.
God,
Forest,
he is in good form, even better form than I realized. Yeah, four goals in his last 4 matches, and a tag and assist in there. 17 goals in the season. So he's actually tied Wood for goals for the season now
yeah.
too.
So and then Forest just they are I think gonna probably tighten up as is their nature as they try to solidify top five, which
Yeah,
makes me a little concerned
yeah.
about Chris Wood.
Yeah, he's actually, and this is actually still 2 back of Chris Wood. I for some reason I thought Wood was on 17. Chris Wood's on 19. So,
You know, I don't. We
yeah,
should be asking Brian this. I mean, this guy's man. I'm looking at his team right now. He's currently ranked 253 overall in the world.
yeah, it's fantastic.
So you know, you
Yeah,
tell us,
yeah,
Brian.
yeah, exactly. But I do think it's hard to say before tomorrow's match too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that big theme this week is wait and see. I would try to hold your transfers until Thursday, if at all possible. And so, I think that's it, Brandon. We will be back on Thursday night with a post-European pod for our Patreon supporters. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/always cheating. Brendan, you want to thank our producer patrons?
Thank you to our producers, Mike DePietro, Trevor Ingerson,
Ooh,
Dave Wegner, Lodall, our buddy Chris
you
Howell,
got
Andy
there.
Penn, Nick
Yeah.
Wright. In the end, I did. Lazarus Yanos, Jesse Alstead, Brian Chin, there he is, Bobas Kuhn, Blair Jacobson, Todd Byerly, Andy Portlock, Dan Parsons, Terrence O'Donnell, Kerry Swanson, Jefferson Turner, as he does it, Francis Moore, Sam Shower, Craig Jackson, Caleb Robbie, Brian Clark, Thomas Tislov, Fred Jacobson, Gareth H., Shalom F. Kadaki, Arishi Niga, Noah and Louise, Travis Grant, Linus Thunderstrom, Matthew Skinner, Ben Coombs, Eric Kite, Rune Sandberg, the three Jims, James Murray Wood, James C. and James Holland, Scully, Craig at Total Mass Tutoring, and Francis Mann. Rate, review, subscribe, follow wherever you do that kind of thing. And we'll see you in the FPL cyberspace.
Yeah, we'll see you then. Yeah. Discord's been very active on the stretcher. You and I were both in there. It's always funny we're both in there at the same
It's like
time.
Clark Kent and
Just
Superman.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. I'm Superman in this scenario, right? So
Naturally.
yeah, naturally. Yeah. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back on Thursday or next Sunday. Talk to you soon. Good luck this weekend. Bye.